Hi, it's Eddie G's Music World, 25th of November. It's unbelievable how time is flying. We're almost at the end of the year. It just shocks me. But here we are, closing in on the end of the year. Today we're going to do more one hit wonders. I'm going to find it and then we're going to get going. Um, let's see. Try to make sure everything was easy to find this time, but somehow it is not once again. But I will find it and proceed. Uh, let's see. hmm Not preparing. Too much junk. Okay. I got the next song to do, but now I got to find the list. And I will do it. Here we go. Sorry for the delay, folks. Eddie G is not always professional, and I feel bad. I went grocery shopping, bought a lot of food, so it kind of distracted me from this massive list of things. Okay, no more excuses. Let's see what we can find. Exciting, bizarre, rare music that everybody forgot, and I didn't forget. So we are headed down the road, and we're almost there. And I think that here it is. The next song on the list is I wanted to look it up to get a bit more familiar with it. It's one of those ballads. It's called Tender Love by Force MD. So this was 1985. So we're getting in the middle of the 1980s. I don't think much happened to them. I didn't really check if there was a lot of activity with this band after this song, but based on the little that I did look into, there was not a lot of popularity about this group after this. So Force MD's Tender Love should be the one you should take a listen to. After that was Perfect Way by Scritti Politti. This was a one hit wonder. And it was upbeat, kind of like typical techno, like keyboard type of based 1980s music. Never heard from these guys again. I don't know what happened to them. Excuse me, but they obviously did not make a major impact on the music business after that. Now, the band after that is a band I saw live about 5 years ago, and they did have about 10 popular songs, but um, I didn't really verify if they did. I'm pretty sure they had more than this number one song. It was in the Breakfast Club. Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. I remember hearing that they did not want to put this song on the record. It was written by someone else, and they kind of reluctantly did it, kind of like a Quiet Riot situation, and it became their biggest song. They did have like Sanctify and Mandela Day and about five, maybe eight, nine other songs that were popular. Which ones got in the top 40? I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's one more. But anyway, Simple Minds did have a pretty big mark on music, and the one hit is pretty easily picked apart. Here's another band that definitely had a lot of hits, but it depends which name you go under. Under Godley and Cream, they had one hit called Cry, but they were, of course, the two main guys in 10cc who had Things We Do for Love, I'm Not in Love, Dreadlock Holiday. So technically, as Godley and Cream, they had the one song Cry. So they, according to this list, they should be on the one hit wonder list. Um, this is a bit of a novelty song. It was all about the war. There's a lot of in the video. There was a lot of visual shots of soldiers and people getting shot or whatever it was. I don't. It's been a few years. It was 19 by Paul Hardcastle. It's a good song to listen to on headphones. A lot of synth work, a lot of like major technology at play. Listening to that song. and a lot of like they had like the singing was not singing; it was like an announcer saying something during the song, and I forget what they said. Next is Dream Academy. They were a one-hit wonder in United States for sure. Life in a Northern Town. It kind of had this weird feel of a throwback song from the 40s or 50s. I can't remember who produced this, but there was somebody famous who produced it. It could have been one of the Pink Floyd people. I'm not sure, but they did not really stick around. It was one of those, they were big for that few months, and that was the end. So Dream Academy, I would say, is pretty close to a one-hit wonder. Next on the one-hit wonders for the '80s, we're into '86, and this guy had a novelty. I would call it novelty. Jermaine Stewart. We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time. You don't hear it that much anymore, but once in a blue moon, I will hear it. I think I remember buying the cassette. It was a good upbeat song, kind of a Prince feel to it. Not Prince, but I'm not comparing to Prince. I believe he passed away in the last 10 or 15 years. And I don't know, he didn't really have a long career, so we have to just take it for what it was, a very fast, popular time, not for a long time. Swing Out Sisters next with Breakout. Now, I do remember it. It did get quite a bit of airplay in England. I think they had 2 or 3 other songs, Swing Out Sister. I get them mixed up with Scissor Sisters. I don't know why. But Breakout was a fun song. It wasn't that big here, but I guess in the eyes of the people making the list, it was a one-hit wonder. So, another person who she was an actress and a singer, and she did the theme song of the Facts of Life. She was married to Alan Thicke, whose son Robin Thicke has had a few hits and court problems, and is a judge on the whatever, The Mask. Now, I'm not sure if Gloria Loring is the biological mother of Robin Thicke or not. He might have been married before Alan Thicke. I don't really remember exactly the details, but Friends and Lovers was this ballad, and she was on Days of Our Lives. I used to watch her on Days of Our Lives, and it was a song kind of connected to the story going on in the soap opera, I guess. I have a very good feeling that this was written by Alan Thicke, but that's something that could be looked into. After that, see, a lot of these people got stuck in the '80s. They couldn't make it to the '90s. The Georgia Satellites. It was kind of a sung in a country hick voice. Keep your hands to yourself, and it was kind of a novelty type of song, and kind of been telling people to not, don't touch my girls, my daughters, or the girl selling the guy. Don't keep your hands to yourself. I'm sure you can figure out the meaning there. They might have had one other song, but honestly, short-lived career, short-lived, never really caught on. After that was an actor who he did this when he was 18 or 17 or 16. This movie called The Boy and His Dog, and then he didn't do much, and then he got into Miami Vice, and then he got Nash Bridges. Don Johnson is the guy. He had a decent voice. Heartbeat. So these are people, they were popular because they were on TV, kind of thing, like that kind of an act. Because Don Johnson, by the 2005-10, he's no longer in movies. He was married to Melanie Griffin, who they had a daughter, Dakota Johnson, I believe, and she's done a few movies, modeling, very pretty girl. But this was Don Johnson's only hit, Heartbeat. Not bad. Here's a guy who I wrote a letter to, and I sent him a poem I wrote. Like, I thought it was a song lyric, and of course, you have to learn this, people, the hard way. You can't send poems, songs to rock stars or even the record companies. They will not open them. They will not take them. They either send them back or they throw them out. They won't, because legally they don't want to be liable that you're going to say that you sent them something that sounds similar, and then you're going to start going to court with them. But this is a false entry here because Chris de Burgh had The Lady in Red. Yes, massive hit. Only massive hit of his was in the movie. But he did have Don't Pay the Ferryman, which barely got it into the top 40. And then, of course, in Montreal, Quebec, Spanish Train was massive, and this Patricia the Stripper. So you know, he had a big following where I live, but obviously in the United States he had one massive hit and then one medium-sized hit. But they only give him they put him on the list. Fabulous Thunderbirds are next. Tough Enough. Good rock band. They had a couple more songs. If I really was that fascinated, I'd look them up. But they did have one or two other songs that were popular. But this was the big one. It was a good video, and they had some talent for sure. Now the band after that is kind of a band that's very forgettable. Timbuk3, like Timbuktu is the like it's sort of a fictional or a real um, reference to an area or a land or whatever it was. So they call them Timbuk3. The future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Now, it's like kind of a bubblegum song that you hear it 7 times, you probably kind of at your limit. But it was pretty much a pretty good big hit. But when your basis for your popularity is a novelty song, it's very hard to come back from that. Next is another novelty type singer because she sounded and looked a little bit and dressed up like Madonna. So she might have had another hit too, I think. Anyway, it's Stacy Q, Two of Hearts, and forgettable pop bubblegum. Tried to cash in on Madonna, in my opinion, and was forgotten pretty quick. I'm sure whatever she's doing, I doubt if she's doing a lot of touring because I don't see a big crowd ready to go hear Stacy Q. Maybe it's interesting to hear what Stacy Q's real name was. Should look it up. Probably already looked it up but forgot. And we're off to the next song. This is a band I think I actually met uh, because in 1980 I saw a concert with the Spoons and the band called the Drivers. And the Drivers, I heard one or two guys went from the Drivers into a band called the Cutting Crew. So Cutting Crew's listed as having only one hit. I Just Died in Your Arms, which was really big. But I know I've Been in Love Before was got a lot of tons of airplay, and I bet if I looked it up, which I don't feel like opening up my book, I'm pretty sure I've Been in Love Before made it to the top 40. I'm confident. So again, I'm deep into the list. I'm criticizing it a lot because it's Billboard put out the list, so this should be more thorough. The Outfield, Your Love. Uh, they also had two or three hits. So one of them was the one that got this is constantly in commercials and movies. I don't think it's Your Love, but Wanna Talk It Over. That's the song that I know. Is that Your Love? I don't remember. I'm not about to start looking it up now. But for sure, The Outfield was not a one-hit wonder. They had two or three. I think three. Another guy next, one hit as far as I know, Orange Juice Jones, The Rain. I actually really, really like this song. It was like a story. Like I like a good story song. She caught him. He caught her cheating on him, kind of thing, and he saw them standing in the rain. But it was good. He threw rap in it. It was like a little rap when rap was just getting popular, and the song had a good beat. Unfortunately, he didn't really turn into a big star after that. Another band that drifted off into nothingness, New Shoes. I Can't Wait. I liked it back then. I was only 26 years old, so my tastes were a little different than they are now. So I listened to it quite a bit. But when you look back, see, sometimes it's misleading when you're young and you hear the song when it comes out. You think it's an amazing song, right? But then if I look back, if I put on the radio and New Shoes came on with I Can't Wait, I'd probably just change the channel. World Party is next. Ship of Fools, World Party song. Now, there was somebody in this band that went on to do some other band, or he was in another band before. It's kind of like alternative type of act, but it had a good message, and I really liked it. And they didn't stick around. XTC is a band that got a lot of airplay with two or three songs. I know that Making Plans for Nigel was a big song, but it wasn't a hit. But Dear God was. but not a massive hit because it's controversial. They were talking about God and, trying to explain away a lot of problems in the world and things that happened, that things that weren't good, and why God. So a lot of people, there was a lot of sentiment against XTC for this song because they were calling out God. They were trying to make it sound like, maybe God should help the planet, but I think they're still around. I saw something on the internet about them still working. Here's a band that definitely had a bunch of played songs on the radio, because this was a town that I heard the lead singer actually lives here or did live here for a time, but I don't know what he's up to now. Beds Are Burning by Midnight Oil. Very political band. Very the guy. There definitely was 2 or 3 other songs by this group. The guy went into politics in New Zealand. He was elected. He's an environmentalist. What's his name? Now that I really want to know his name. He was a bald-headed guy and shaved head. Yeah, I just said bald-headed. What else? Now that I'm trying to remember their other hits, they're not coming to me, but Blue Sky Mine, that was another one, but I remember it going to number 50, so it wasn't as big. Here's a guy who's an actor who's had a hit TV show, which was the Moonlighting, became a massive film star, and it's Respect Yourself, which was the one that was an old song by Otis Redding, I think. No, that he did Respect Yourself. Now I'm drawing a blank. But he wasn't really much of a singer. But because he was on a TV show, and I guess he was a big deal at the time, he had this hit, top 10 hit, Bruce Willis, Respect Yourself. Hold on, Respect Yourself was the Staple Sisters. There, I saved myself. Next is a band that means a little bit to me because I'm not shy, so when I go to see concerts, I almost always, not almost always, once in a while, I'll go backstage, not backstage, but outside the building, and I'll ask the musicians, what other bands were you in that had hits? And once in a blue moon, you get an answer. So I asked the bass player or the keyboardist or guitarist. I think he was a guitarist for, could have been Rundgren, or it could have been the guy in who was backing up the singer of Deep Purple. I said, what other groups were you in? And he said, I was in T'Pau. I played on Heart and Soul. I said, wow, that's pretty impressive. And so I remembered that, and it was nice of him to tell me because, you look at people, you don't know what they've done. They never get a lot of accolades. It's a session work. So they don't come out of there buying homes after they do a $2,000 session or $1,000 session. Okay, we'll give this a little more time. If anybody's around, say hi. I do it early in the morning, so I really don't think a lot of people are going to be tuning in live, and once in a while they are, but it's fine. I'm going down the list. A lot of obscure bands, I'll tell you this. Pretty Poison, Catch Me I'm Falling. It was kind of rockish. I think it was an all-girl band. They might have had another minor song, but I don't remember enough to go. I get them mixed up with another all-girl band, too. Billy Vera is a very interesting story. He had a hit called At This Moment, like 10 years before this version. Like he had it originally, was medium to minor hit. Then it got played on the Michael J. Fox show. What's it called, with Mallory and I always forget that show. Michael J. Fox was on it. He only had one massive TV show anyway. So it was that show. It was a love song because he was discovering his wife or getting a girlfriend, and they played At This Moment before. But then in 1987, it was on the TV show, and that's when it was re-released again. So on its second round, it had 2 weeks at number 1, which is impressive. And Billy Vera never really was in the massive, in the limelight after that. But at least he had that big hit. Now here's another massive actor, Patrick Swayze, She's Like the Wind. Now this came out as Dirty Dancing. This was on the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. And he could sing pretty well. I liked the song. It was good for the time, maybe even still good. But he passed away sadly, and we do have that song. I'm pretty sure there was no other follow-ups that had any impression on the music world. Moving on, JJ Fad. I actually put this on YouTube a few weeks ago to see because it came up, on the side, and I actually remembered it. JJ Fad with Supersonic, a lot of like keyboards, synthesizer work. Another song, When in Rome, The Promise. Now, the name The Promise might not mean anything to you because they don't say, they might say it, but it's not clear. But I remember they have like, it was just that one year that this band had a big song and that's it. This one, the next one is incredible because if I didn't look at the upcoming bands coming to my city on tour, I wouldn't realize that this group is still around. Now, I remember breaking up with a girl and the song came out at the same time, Shattered Dreams. So I guess I connected it in my mind that my dreams were shattered because I was breaking up with the girl. And this band, Johnny Hates Jazz, was big for that time. Maybe another minor hit and goodbye. I don't know where they were. But now I see they're on tour in clubs. They're trying to make money. I'm not going to see them. They're from England. I don't know any other songs, and I'm certainly not going to run out in the cold weather to go hear them. Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, It Takes Two. That you hear a bit because it was considered a big hip hop rap song that got a lot of airplay back then. So it's not as obscure as some of the other ones. So if you do, and I think it's been sampled too. So if you do have a chance, go listen to that one. It's pretty good. Moving on down, Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. What I Am. It was fun at the time, but looking back, it was, she had this little whispery voice and, it was cute. I liked the song, but do I want to hear it now? I don't think so. And she landed herself quite a catch with Paul Simon, had a family with him. And of course, there was an incident where one of the kids called the police and there was some kind of a problem there. I don't know, between Edie and Paul, but I have a feeling Paul should be the one that's got scared because Edie's like 5'8" or 10, and Paul's about 4'11" or something. Anyway, I'm speculating who did what or said what to whom. I don't really know. We're on the next to kind of a jazz guy, but this jazz guy, he had a novelty song that was number one. I can't believe it, and I did like it. And maybe if I hear it now, I really don't think I want to hear it anymore. It's got a lot of airplay. The guy, he returned to mostly his jazz type of theme. Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Gimmicky, kind of. I don't think he even thought he'd have a hit with this. It was just too weird. On the move to the next one, Information Society. I do remember this one. What's on Your Mind? Pure Energy. A lot of synth play, and it was okay for the time, but very techno-ish and didn't really turn. I guess you could see the alternative music starting to make some inroads by the late 80s. See the mood and the theme has changed. I don't know this one, EU, The Butt, but based on the title, it's probably rap or hip hop. The Church, Under the Milky Way, was on an alternative type song. And kind of mystic type of good vibe type of song. Vixen is next with Edge of a Broken Heart. That's the one I got mixed up with Pretty Poison. So they did have this song plus two others. It was metal-ish, girl metal, but it wasn't heavy metal, but it was pop metal. Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers, of course, one of Bob's kids. I think is he the one that's still on tour? He tours constantly. No, I'm mixing up Frank Zappa's son. No, Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. Tomorrow People, good vibe to it. I liked it at the time, and he might be the one that was married to the Hill there, the one from I forget her name, Killing Me Softly, the one from that band. I think she might have married one of the Marley kids. Concan, they were from Canada, and Concan is a play on words because Concan means Canadian content, but they mixed it up to sound little bit innovative. I beg your pardon, I never promised you a rose garden. They kind of mixed together samples of that with all kinds of beats, and and they they did have a cute novelty type of feel to that song. I'm going to finish up and go all the way to the end of 1980s. We're almost done anyway. After that is Roachford Cuddly Toy Song. Barely remember it, so I have not much to say. Jeff Healey had all kinds of health issues, was blind. He died very young. His only big hit was Angel Eyes. And he also had another song that was probably called Can You See the Light? So interesting, his only two songs, and he did While My Guitar Gently Weeps with George on the record. But the only two actual big hits were Angel. The funny thing is, he couldn't see. Two of his biggest songs were about eyes, Angel Eyes and Can You See the Light? So two songs about that. LA Guns, famous for an association with Guns N' Roses because Tracy Guns was hung out. They were in a band. They were in LA Guns together. That's probably how they got Guns N' Roses. And the Ballad of Jane was about Jane Mansfield. And this guy, you know, LA Guns is still around. I hear them on this music show that I used to listen to, and they're always coming on and talking about the old days and the new songs or whatever. Love and Rockets, So Alive. I do know that one. It was kind of also techno-ish. Never really did much. Martika, Toy Soldiers. I thought there was another hit song. I know that Eminem samples Toy Soldiers from Martika, and this song I really liked. I remember listening to it especially to hear it. After that, Biz Markie, Just a Friend. Now, he made the mistake of using a piece, I could still not detect it, but there's a little melody line that's similar to Gilbert O'Sullivan singing Alone Again Naturally. So what I heard is Biz Markie made a lot of money with Just a Friend, but got sued to hell by Gilbert O'Sullivan, and Gilbert O'Sullivan pretty much snuffed out all the money, and in future money that it might make or anything, he really ended up getting not much out of that money, and he didn't do much else after that. Next guy on the list, Michael Damon. I did Damien. Of course, he was on Young and the Restless for a while, and I did meet him. And I did mention this on one of the shows, so I'm not going to go into the whole story. He did the cover of David Essex's song with Rock On. Jimmy Harnan with Sink. Where Are You Now? Sorry, I do remember this, but I have to say, I remember when it came out, but I don't remember how it sounds. And of course, last on the list, we're finishing up the 1980s. A Canadian, pretty popular girl. She did Love Is Too, which was really big. And she's toured here a lot. So Black Velvet was the breakthrough, massive song. She was married to Christopher Ward. I think she still is. He was a VJ on Much Music. So we're going to leave it at that. And that's Eddie G's Music World show for the 25th of November. So I want to first email myself the next thing to do, and then I'll be ready. So I have one less thing to do. And so I want to thank you. At some point, maybe we will experiment with some people on the show, but I've just taken a break with the constant trying of that, and maybe, who knows, it could happen again. But I had fun doing it. I hope you had some enjoyment as well. Eddie G's Music World signing off for another day. Goodbye.